Could you do an 8th speaker round of applause for Angela Lockwood? Whoa!
Well, everyone, congratulations to you. Hey, congratulations, because today you have made a really big achievement. Huge achievement, in fact. You have made around 20,000 different choices. 20,000 different choices? Hey, hang on. Don't get too carried away because they haven't all been good ones, okay? But some of them have been great, like just turning up here today. You see, we have this constant dance between our conscious thinking and our subconscious thinking that we're often not even aware of the choices that we make or the impact that these choices have on us. So I'm wondering if you're even aware of some of the choices that you're making right now. So there's some of you that are trying to work out how many conferences you can book me for. There's another group that are trying to work out which client can I introduce her to. And there's this whole other group that the thought of making 20,000 different choices has left you completely exhausted. And the thought of making just one more, well, that's just too much to think about. See, one thing we're not short of in life is choices. We have shops that only stock phone covers. We have acres of land full with cars and huge warehouses full of every tool that we could possibly imagine. And as a result, it's leaving us overwhelmed, exhausted with decision fatigue, and often stuck in indecision that even the simple act of choosing what to eat has become just too hard to think about. And you don't have to go too far to see evidence of this happening than your local Subway store. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Subway, and often if I find $5 in my purse and I'm on a bit of a time limit, Subway for me is always the obvious choice. And I was in this position last week and I walked into the local Subway store and the place was full. And the lovely sandwich artist behind the counter, she sort of kick-started the process and said, "Hi, can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, thanks, I'd love a ham salad sandwich, thank you." And she said, "Okay, sure, do you want a 6-inch or a foot long?" Now, I'm a metric girl, so this automatically gets me a little bit stuck. Yeah. So I always go for the 15.24 centimetre version. And then once we choose the size, then we have to also choose the type of the bread. The type of the bread. Is anyone in here honey oaters? Does anyone have their standard honey oat? Yeah, thanks, we're in the same club. Anyone have like Italian herb and cheese? Yeah, see? Anyone just go, I'm going to go all fancy schmancy and go that flatbread stuff? No. Anyone actually flick the bread and just go for salads? No. Yeah. Don't want to own up. Yes, I do. So not only do we have to choose the size of the bread, we also have to choose the type of the bread, don't we? And then we move on to the salads, to the cheeses, don't we? We move on to the cheeses. Now, I actually don't know the difference between Old English cheddar and cheddar. So I always just go for that cool little, what are they ones, the little ones with the holes in them, the little Swiss ones, yeah. The meat for me is, well, that's always easy because I just wanted a ham salad sandwich. And then just as I feel like I'm doing okay, then the complexity just kicks up a whole nother level. The salads, hey? The salads, you've got all these salads plus all these optional extras. So of course you just go for the whole lot. And then just as you think you're about done, they move the sandwich along and they ask, what sauce do you want? Now, I don't know about you, have you ever counted how many sauces there are? There are 12 sauces. 12 sauces. Now, how in the world are we meant to make the best decision with a whole store full of people based on 12 sauces? So I just do what most of us do when we're faced with a decision under pressure. I just deflect responsibility. I said, you know what? I don't care. You choose. See, so the time that we order, say like my ham salad sandwich, to completion, we have to choose between 48 different options. 48 different options. So if the simple act of creating a ham salad sandwich has become so complex, no wonder it's becoming so much harder to make good decisions about the things that really matter. And it was when Barack Obama was elected as American president. He tells at the time that him and his wife Michelle got together and they made very conscious choices that they needed to simplify their life if they were to have the energy to focus on the big decisions that come with running a country. And so what they decided was, first of all, they're never going to decide what they're going to eat. And they're also never going to decide on what they're going to wear. And did you know that Obama has one whole wardrobe just full of the one style of suit? And so they decided not to just simplify their personal life, but Obama also took this thinking into his personal life. So the way that he communicates with his team is through a process called decision memos. And the decision memos are full of 3 choices. So if they want him to make a decision, he has to choose between agree, disagree, or let's discuss. So it seems that the president even fully understands the importance of making decisions simple. You see, the pure effort that it takes for us to work through all of these simple decisions in our days can often leave us totally exhausted and at times just stuck in indecision. So with the hecticness of our lives, we just don't feel like we have the spare energy or the spare time to focus on making better decisions. But what we all need to harness is at the core of every action we take are the choices that we make. If you want to get better at making good decisions, fully harness the importance of the choices that you make. It was in his book, In Praise of Slowness, Carl Hanor recalled while standing in line at an airport in London, he was flicking through newspaper and he saw the title, The 1 Minute Bedtime Story. And the 1 Minute Bedtime Story, it was like it claimed to be the answer to every busy parent's nighttime problem, reading to their children before they go to sleep. And it was like a 60-second snippet, little executive summary of all the children's storybook classics. So I thought, all right, I wonder what I could simplify some of the bestsellers into to fit into my busy life. So I started with J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter's and the Philosopher's Stone. And what I came up with was Harry said, I thought I was a lonely child, instead I'm a wizard. And Hagrid says, Harry, here's some secrets I'm not supposed to tell you. And then Harry Potter goes and saves the world. And then I thought, all right, Ange, keep going, keep going. What about Elizabeth Gilbert's Eat, Pray, Love? Well, actually, I couldn't really do too much with this. It was just eat, pray, love. And then I thought, all right, Ange, all these organisations get you in to help them simplify their decision-making processes. You better go with the big guns here. So I went with the Encyclopedia Britannica. In fact, I found this one the easiest. And not only did I find it so easy, I also could come up with a different use for it. So Carl Hanor said that when he saw the title, The 1 Minute Bedtime Story, it was his point of realisation that the world's obsession with time has gotten completely out of control. And he questioned whether we've lost sight of what really matters. So the challenge for all of us is that life is complicated. Life is complicated, and we're often presented with situations that are completely beyond our control, that challenge our ability to stay focused on what's important, and often will force us to make decisions that we're not always prepared for, because choices aren't always predictable. And it was this hockey ball that gave me my biggest moment of choice. As a teenager, I just lived and breathed hockey. I had to make constant choices between my friends and hanging out, with them and playing my sport. Because from a very early age, I decided that I was going to play hockey at the Sydney 2000 Olympics, when this hockey ball changed all of that. It was a really cold winter's night down at the hockey fields, or up at the hockey fields in Newcastle. And we were playing a really tough team. They were full of current Olympians, state representatives. And the game was coming towards the end. And the score was even. And a short corner was called. So I went over and I assumed my position guarding the post. And I looked over at the player who hit the ball out to the top of the circle. The forward stopped the ball at the top of the circle. She lifted a stick and bang! I saw the ball come through the air. I turned my head, and the last thing that I can remember was falling to the ground. We would come to learn that that ball collided with my head at a speed just under 200 kilometres an hour. The impact of the hockey ball to my temporal lobe fractured my skull. It embedded bone fragments into my brain, fractured all my middle ear bones and my jaw, and gave me such debilitating headaches and seizures. And because it being hit in the temporal lobe, my ability to speak again was in question. I often drifted in and out of sleep, and apparently this was common for someone with swelling on the brain. But there was this one time that was different. I drifted into a really deep, calm sleep. And it was during this sleep that I was wakened, very strangely actually, by a man standing in a car park. And he was surrounded by all these people who I didn't know. And he started to sort of come towards me, and it was getting a little bit uncomfortable. But he smiled at me and he said, "Come with me, Ange. We're waiting." I can distinctively remember saying to him, "I'm sorry, I'm just not ready. It's not my turn." And he looked a little bit disappointed, but not very surprised. And you know, like you try to wake from a dream, like you close your eyes so tight. I opened my eyes and I looked at my mum, who never left my bedside. And I told her everything that had just happened. And it wasn't until my mum said that she had heard every word I had just spoken that we realised I had just made a life-changing choice. Look, I don't know if it was my spiritual beliefs or if it was a higher power calling me, or God, even if it was just the medication I was taking. I don't know. But what I do know is in that moment, I understood the power of the choices that we make. See, each day we're all presented with a multitude of choices. The impact of that hockey ball to my head gave me a string of different choices for me to make. After having surgery and months of recovery, I went back to playing hockey. You know, I loved it. I loved the sport. But I didn't go on to play for the Olympics because now my life was following a different path. See, because we're all faced with a multitude of choices every day, what happens is we don't often take the time to learn from the choices that we've made. And as a result, we make too many poor decisions. Too many poor decisions. If you want to know how you can start to make better decisions in work and life, you need to simplify the choices that you make and simplify the decision-making processes. Has anyone ever heard of TripAdvisor? Has anyone, yeah? And I know we've got the Hoot people in the room, TripAdvisor. Yeah, anyone ever used TripAdvisor before? Yeah, of course. You guys aren't alone, hey, because it's used in like over 42 different countries. And there's about 150 million different reviews online of all the different holiday places and things that you can go to. And the thing with TripAdvisor, if you haven't been on it, it's pretty cool, right? Because you get to go on there and you sort of get to research your holidays, and then you get to book directly online, and then you get to jump back in and make a review on how the holiday went. But what I believe the true success of TripAdvisor is that they've fully embraced the continuum of choice. What they do is they allow people to think things through. They allow people to feel, to make a decision directly on their site, to put their decision into practice, come back and reflect on if the decision was a good one, and if they need to, just choose again. So look, guys, I know it's the end of a great, fantastic day, so I want to make sure that you're going back to your lives with some really great ways that you can make simple decisions, that you can start to make better decisions, not just at work, but also in life. And I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can start to simplify your lives and make good, confident decisions right here, right now. And the first, you might have heard of this strategy before, actually. It's called scissors, paper, rock. Anyone ever used this strategy before? Yeah, like it's not, for those of you that haven't, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a little inside tip. So the scissors, paper, rock, it's like scissors beats the paper beats the rock beats the scissors, yeah? Everyone knows this game? Now, it's probably not a really effective decision-making tool for like your life-changing decisions, but it's really great for those simple decisions you have to make. But there's a real reason why scissors, paper, rock is used from anything from parenting to games to people at uni trying to work out all their little simple decisions that they have to make. The reason is because it only gives you one of 3 options. You either get to choose scissors, paper, or rock. And it also gives you a short time frame on which you need to decide. So the first way to start to make really good decisions is to limit your choices and give yourself a time frame on which you need to decide. The second way, well, it actually takes me back to when I first met my gorgeous husband. And he was sort of like this big, tall, gorgeous rugby player. You might have seen him out there today, just to put him on the spot. And when we first started dating, like we had date night, you know, like have Saturday night date night. Remember those days? Yeah. And what we would do is he'd go like, "Hey, babe, where do you want to go for dinner tonight?" And I'd be like, "Oh, I don't care, wherever you think. Like, I don't really mind. Like, wherever." Yeah, no, really. Like, I just want to be with you, babe. No, he actually never said that, but that was in my head. And the conversation would just keep going backwards and forwards, I think, until we ended up just deciding out of pure hunger. Now, 20 years down the track, date night conversation goes something more like this. "What's for dinner?" "I don't know, what do you want?" "Pizza." It sounds familiar, hey? So I think what we do when we make decisions is we try to please everyone all the time. And what happens when we try to please everyone and make that perfect right decision is we don't end up deciding at all. So eventually what we have to do is realise that someone has to make a confident decision. And in fact, that's what we look towards our leaders for, to make confident decisions even in times of uncertainty. And the last way that you can start to make better decisions in work and life is to do a brain dump. And a brain dump is a way to clear your head. See, because what happens is too many times we try to make decisions based on a brain full of overwhelm. A brain full of overwhelm. We've got so many things happening inside our heads. When we're presented with a decision to make, we try to find clarity amongst the mess. So the first thing you can do is clear it all out. Get a piece of paper, a whiteboard, and dump it all down on paper. Because what that allows you to do is take a step back and get perspective on what's really going on. Because as long as we're in our heads, we can't see. We can't get perspective on the next best step to take. So if you want to start to make better decisions in work and life, the three really key ways is to limit your choices and give yourself a time frame on which to decide. Have the confidence to step up and make a decision. And do it through a lens of clarity. And if you want to know more ways, I've written a whole book on it called The Power of Conscious Choice. And actually I did a little bit of unscientific, invalid research on this brain dump sort of scenario on ways that we can make better decisions. And I just thought I want to share it with you because like research always makes you, beefs up things. So I thought I'd show you this totally unscientific, invalid research I did. So this is what a female brain dump looks like. All right, and this is what a male brain dump looks like. So it doesn't really matter what's going on inside your head. Doesn't matter what's going on inside your head. The best way that you can start to make good decisions is to find clarity, limit your choices, and have the confidence to step up and decide. So everyone, this now, right here, right now, is your moment of choice. Let's not wait for others to dictate our direction. Let's step into our choices with confidence. Because with each passing day, we don't have the time to wait for the perfect answer to reveal itself. Learn from the choices that you've made so that each day you can be moving forward to creating the life that you choose. Thank you.